Justine, thanks for taking my call.
It's my pleasure. I'm happy to talk to you today. I'm very happy to talk to you.
Let's start off with a bit of history if we can. How did you start off? And what ups and downs have we gone through to get to where we are today?
So I started in 2009. I founded the band with a bassist whose name is Justine. And we released an EP a few months later after we started, so in 2009. And after the EP, we released our first album that was called Théogène in French, and most of the lyrics are in French. So I'm doing gothic industrial metal, and my twist would be that I sing in French, which is my native language. So we released our first album in 2012, and then we hired other band members for the live shows. So we ended up being 4 band members, and then we released 2 other albums, which is 3 on the whole. I mean, we toured a lot, and it went quite well until 2020. The band grew a lot during that time, and I decided to go professional while my other band members wanted the project to remain a hobby. So they didn't want to commit themselves anymore, and I wanted to move forward and go bigger. So I decided to part ways with them, and Elyose became a solo project. So in early 2020, so that's a little bit more than 1 year ago. And since then I worked on my first solo EP that is called Persona, and I'm still under the band name Elyose, but now it's a solo project and became a solo project. It was released 1 month ago in February, on February 18th. So it's called Persona, and it's an EP, a 6-track EP. So that's where I'm at, and I haven't toured for now 2 years. I haven't done any live show or gig for a long time.
You picked a hell of a year to branch out on your own with all the COVID thing happening. How did that impact things?
Actually, the only issue I was going to face being a solo artist is what about live shows? I would have needed other band members. I can't play on my own, so this would have been the only issue. I could have hired guest musicians, but actually I didn't even ask myself that question because we just can't tour at the moment. So I decided to remain, just a one-woman band for now. I think that COVID didn't change my way of working because, that's a job where you work on your own in front of your computer. In my case, I'm not, composing or doing the songwriting in the rehearsal rooms. That's not how I write music. It's a very solitary job actually. So I already was writing on my own from my own house. So COVID didn't change that. My way of working, my way of writing songs didn't change at all. What changed most is that I was now working on my own, making all the decisions, and I could go fully, committed to my project as my main job. So that's why I changed more that I parted ways with my other members. That COVID didn't change a lot of things, except that I can't play live anymore.
How about recording? You didn't play drums and play guitar, did you?
No, I don't. I'm not a drummer. I'm not a guitar player. I'm a singer and songwriter, so I can write for all the instruments, but I can't play them live, of course.
So we've obviously got other people in to do that part of it. How did that happen?
So I hired guest musicians that I admired a lot, that I had discovered with their own projects. So the first one is called Max Marian, and he's Italian, and he's already doing the keys and all the songwriting for his own band that is called Halloween Flowers. And I had heard this band before, and I loved the way he wrote the songs. I loved his musical personality that is very gothic industrial, and that's what I had always wanted for Elyose. So I thought this guy would be the best fit for me. I had known him for a long time, and I had always told myself, oh, that would be a good match, him and I. So as long as I, became a solo artist, I called him, and we already knew each other because his wife was working for me as a graphic designer. So I called actually her, and I said, do you think Max would be interested in working with me? And she said, yeah, sure, you should talk to him. And, we knew, we were in the same track since the beginning, and then we started working together, and it felt very, very smooth and and he's a professional too. So, he's very dedicated to music and to recording beautiful songs. And then I needed the metal side of it. So I called a producer actually that I had seen on another band. It's a French band that is called Smash Hit Combo. And I had loved this band for a long time. And I thought that would be such a good match also because this man is a producer and he's not doing symphonic metal at all. So I wanted to go to a new territory with somebody who does more extreme metal and more modern. He has a more he's doing modern metal, extreme metal. So this has nothing to do with symphonic metal, but I liked to go look for somebody to bring something fresh and new, more modern to my sound, and not the typical symphonic metal sound and producers that most bands are hiring. I wanted something which is kind of a mix with my symphonic metal background and also his approach that is more modern and more aggressive, a little bit more aggressive. So I wanted to find a new sound that is not typical symphonic metal. So these are the two people that I hired, and I thought this would be a good mix. I knew exactly what I wanted, and those two people were the person I had dreamed about for a long time, and I wasn't wrong. It worked out really, really well.
Right, so the new EP just came out last month, Persona. Tell us a bit about that. Tell us a bit about the songs on there. I noticed we've got a couple of remixes on there.
Yes. So the songs are a mix with traditional symphonic metal and new metal, very what I call modern metal. So I still have my roots because the roots of symphonic metal and gothic metal, because I'm a classical singer. I love also the orchestrations and the strings, but I like them to add this kind of dramatic touch, not something cheesy, So I tried to sound a bit more darker and gothic, a little bit more, because this is what I listen to most of the time, gothic metal, from the northern countries. This is what I love. So a mix of gothic symphonic metal, traditional, and a mix of modern metal or even new metal. That's what I aimed for, and I think that's what came out. So I think it would be music that appealed to people who like symphonic metal, but also people who listen to metal that close to new metal or modern metal. As concerns the lyrics, I wrote about the narcissistic part of our job and how also people like to show up on Instagram and the dangers that could end up being too focused on your figure, on how you look like, on the others' approval. And that's something I live in my daily life because, I'm a singer. I need to show up on social media. That's part of my job, and that's part of my relationship with my fans. I like to build relationships with them. So I'm omnipresent on social media, but I saw, things that I needed to talk about that to me was dangerous downsides of this. That's what I talked about mainly. Talked about ego and how our bodies and the way we look like take so much importance in our lives while it's just temporary. So that was the main theme. And for the music, I already told you how I wanted it to sound.
You do most of your singing in French. you do a lot of interviews in French. You're talking to me in English. Is it hard knowing which way to go? Do you do much singing in English at all?
Most of my lyrics are in French. I started with French because I was a lyricist at first. So it was the drummer of my ex-drummer who wrote the lyrics, and he couldn't write in English. And I thought, why not? I mean, many bands sing in English, so no one will complain about, that they can't find any English lyrics. So I said, we're French. Why don't we, sing in our own language? And I also like to hear metal in other languages. I like the German of Rammstein, the Italian, sometimes for Lacuna Coil. I like when bands sing in their own language. Even if I don't understand, it makes me want to learn. It makes me curious, and I like to hear other languages. And I'm really in love with foreign languages. So I thought, let's try that and see what are the people's reactions. It was surprising that most people actually liked the French, and it became, what made us different a little bit, and it became like our personal brand, like that French French singing band, and that was a way people would recognize or remember us more easily. And then for the third album, I hired a guest singer whose name is Mark Janssen from the band Epica. And of course, he couldn't speak French, so I decided to write an English song. That was a try. I wanted to see how people were going to react. People were still saying, "Keep the French." I mean, that's what I liked about you. And I even started a survey. I like to survey my fans because I want to know what they're thinking. And in my survey, 90% of the people said, "Please keep the French." So I just listened to them. And only a few percentage said it was annoying to them not to be able to understand the lyrics. So for my latest EP, I wanted to try both. Like you said, I'm doing interviews in English. All my communication on social media and on email, I always speak English because I have an international audience. So I need to speak English. So on my daily routine, I always speak English. So I wanted to also sing in English because that made sense to me when I speak English to my fans. Also, I found it quite weird to do my communication in English and other lyrics in French. So this time I tried both. And I was, and then I asked people, what do you prefer? And they still say, please keep the French. So I will listen to my fans and keep the French for the other albums. I think people like it. I mean, the people who listen to me like that I sing in French. So I'll keep up with the French.
Yeah, it keeps you unique. So yes, and like you said, it works for Rammstein.
Yeah, it works for Rammstein. I mean, I'm not Rammstein, but I personally like to hear other languages, and I wish that more people would sing in their own language.
How are things going over there with COVID? Are you still locked down? Are you able to get out? Are you able to go to a concert or see a band in a pub? Are you allowed to eat at a restaurant? What's going on over there now?
In France, which is where I live in Paris. Right now, I'm not in Paris. I run away from Paris because it became so complicated to live there because there are no restaurants or shops and everything is closed. So it's very sad, actually. So we're still under lockdowns, very strict lockdowns. There's nowhere you can't even gather with some other friends. There are cops everywhere. I mean, you feel like you're, in war, at war. Or it's a very very sad feeling. So I went to live in Savoie, which is it's quite far from Paris. It's another part of France at the mountains, and there I feel more free because the restrictions are not that strict. And I'm back to being in the nature, which does a lot of good to me. So currently, that's where I live, and it's a lot more, quiet, and you feel more free. The only thing is you can't ski. Normally that's where you do ski, and mountain sports, but here, everything is closed. But at least you still have the hikes and other stuff, but you can't ski. So that's the only downside of it.
So what happens now? What are the immediate plans where you are?
I'm still, that's very, the release of my latest EP is very fresh. It's very recent. I've heard the songs I released, I've heard them for years now because I've been working on them for years. But for people, it's very recent. It just came out. So I'm still doing promotion. I'm still in the, post-launch phase. I need to keep the momentum going. So I'm doing a lot of interviews. I'm promoting my music. I try to find new fans every day because, even for my old albums, people who discover me, for them, it's new music. So, the music never gets old. And I can keep promoting it until the end of time, because it's always new to new people. So my main focus is trying to find new fans every day, and that's quite a lot of work. That's what I'm doing right now. So I'm trying to promote my new release, but also the previous ones that haven't found their potential listeners yet. So this is keeping me quite busy, and I think I'm going to do this kind of work for another month, another 2 or 3 months, and then I'll start to think about the new release, another album or another EP, because we need to anticipate, and it starts years before it's actually out. So yeah, I'm going to keep doing the promotion, and then I'll start writing new songs. So I'll dedicate a few months for that before I focus on new music. I'm making new music.
Yeah. It's interesting that you mentioned new fans coming on board, because 2020 was a crap year for going to see bands, but it was a very good year for discovering new bands because we all had more time on our hands. I listened to more new music last year than I reckon in the previous 10 years. It was just crazy.
There are pros and cons because people now focus a lot more, even for bands, because I see, in my opinion, a lot of bands were only promoting their music through live gigs, but that's very limited because you can't reach only the people who are in your city or in the countries that are close by. I like and I would like my music to be heard by every country, not only the people that are in Paris. And I can't do worldwide tours. So I've always tried to reach new people through the internet, and I think that a lot of bands and artists were not doing that before, and that they finally agreed to focus on internet, which is where there are more and more potential fans that they can reach easily now with all the marketing tools that we have in our hands. You don't need a label anymore. So most people started to understand that they could reach a lot of people on internet. And I think that's a good thing. People also are more and more used to buy online, so we can have online shops. And I think we can reach even more people. So that was the pros of not being able to do live shows anymore for the bands. It was also a good opportunity to change their way of seeing things, that you don't have to tour to get famous anymore. You don't have to have a label anymore to get famous. You just need to reach, new fans on the internet. And like you said, they're also more open to find new music through the internet because they don't go to concerts anymore. So everything happens online now. And that's also the pros of the situation.
What's the best way to hear your music? What web space should people be looking at to discover you?
Yeah, I said I was an independent artist, and that you could buy my music directly from me. I think that's how more and more artists or bands are now doing. So sometimes people, they say to me, "Oh, where is it that I can buy so you earn the most?" Actually, I'm already independent, so I'm my own. I'm my own, business owner. So I don't owe money to some labels, or the the downside of it is that I need to handle my own business, so I have a lot more costs involved. But I'm an entrepreneur, so people shouldn't worry about which part goes to which label, or there are no middlemen in between. So people, even in my relationships, I have direct relationships with my fans, and that's what I like about it. It's very personal. Everything I do, it's me behind my social media, behind my emails. It's only me. I don't have any people doing this for me. So when people are on my social media or website or everywhere, it's me directly they're talking to, and it's me they're seeing. And if they're buying music, it's from me directly. And that's something I also emphasize, because not all the bands, some bands are dreaming about a label and everything. I'm on the other side of it.
I think what people are going on about there is you hear about all the very small payments that people get from streaming. So for someone to buy a CD from you, that's got to work out better for you than...
I mean, that's not true. People are complaining about how little they earn. That's because no one is listening to them. I mean, if you have more listeners, then you have a decent source of income. You have to work on people getting to know you, and that's what I was talking about. Meeting new fans every day, so your music gets heard. A lot of people just put their music out there and wait for success, and that's not going to happen if they don't put the hard work, and if they don't do if they don't show up on social media, if they don't do the marketing work, and then they'll complain, oh, streaming services, they don't pay me. Well, you need to, in order to get paid, you need a lot of people to listen to you, so your music needs to be good, and then that's not enough. You can have some quality music. If you just put it out there, nothing will happen. So that's also, but you're right. I mean, that's only one source of income, the streaming, but there are lots of other pillars. You earn money from YouTube, you earn money from your physical sales, from merchandise, you earn money from live shows in normal times. You also earn money from donations or crowdfunding. There are lots of sources of income that, put together, that can make a decent living. But of course, you have to put the hard work to get there.
Justine, it's been so good talking to you today. Thanks again for taking my call.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for supporting me and for doing this interview. And it was really a pleasure to talk to you. And thank you.